Just think about it for a second. A single tiny spark of life.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow, against absolutely astronomical odds, it explodes into, well, everything we see. All the creatures, the plants.
It's mind-boggling.
What forces, what relentless shaping could possibly drive that kind of transformation over, what, billions of years?
That's the epic story we're diving into today. We're drawing a lot from Life on Earth, a natural history analysis, especially the updated 40th anniversary edition. It's such a rich source.
Yeah, and it reminds me a bit of the approach you see on channels like Mindful Moments on YouTube.
Oh, how so?
Well, they use AI to analyze books, but the goal is encouraging that deeper reflection, that critical thinking, and that's kind of our aim too, right?
Exactly. We want to trace that core story of life's journey. Hit the key evolutionary leaps, see how it's all interconnected.
But without getting totally swamped in every single detail because, wow, there are a lot.
There really are.
Yeah.
So where to start? Attenborough often begins usually, doesn't he? Like picturing the sheer vibrancy of a South American rainforest.
Right. And that immediately makes you ask, okay, where did this all come from?
And boom, you're right into Darwin. Natural selection. Those Galapagos tortoises are such a classic, clear example he uses.
Perfect illustration of adapting to your little corner of the world.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's pull back from the vibrant present day. Let's think geological time. You look at layers in the Grand Canyon, maybe.
Yeah, suddenly you get a sense of the immense timescale involved.
Enough.
It's humbling.
And then the actual beginning, or close to it, these 2 billion-year-old algae fossilize.
In short, yeah. A type of rock that's amazing for preserving microscopic details. You can actually see these ancient forms.
Wow, and these weren't complex creatures.
No.
Simple.
Oh, incredibly simple. Cyanobacteria, basically. Blue-green algae. But they were fundamental. They started photosynthesis.
Pumping oxygen into the atmosphere.
Changing the entire planet.
Yeah.
Paving the way for, well, us eventually. Every step, every tiny innovation back then, it just opened up new doors.
New branches on the evolutionary tree.
Precisely. It's all about diversification.
So from those microscopic beginnings, life really takes off in the oceans. We see that in fossils too, like Moroccan limestone.
Yep, around 600 million years old. And there you start seeing early experiments. Shells appearing, bodies with segments, early invertebrates.
Like first drafts of body plans.
That's a great way to put it. Think about flatworms. Simple shape, but perfect for burrowing into the seabed. A whole new niche opens up.
And then the mollusks, you mentioned them being super successful. How many species?
Around 80,000 known species. Just incredible diversity. Snails, clams, octopuses.
But then you have things like the nautilus.
Ah, the nautilus. A true living fossil. It tells us something important. Evolution isn't always about radical change.
Sometimes a design just works and sticks around.
Exactly. If it ain't broke, millions of years, largely unchanged.
Okay, but things did change. Fish enter the picture. That seems like a big deal.
Huge deal. Especially the evolution of jaws. Suddenly you're not just filtering mud. You can bite, tear, hunt actively.
Opens up a whole new world of food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And leads to that split. You get the cartilaginous fish, like sharks and rays, and then the vast group of bony fish.
And fish developed all these amazing tools for underwater life. Gills, obviously.
Essentially for breathing water. Then swim bladders. Like little internal flotation devices.
To control buoyancy, right. Go up, go down.
And lateral lines. That's the sensory system, lets them feel vibrations and pressure changes in the water around them.
Wow. So they're really mastering the aquatic world.
Completely. Dominating diverse marine environments.
But then the land calls. That transition, moving from water to land, I just can't wrap my head around how challenging that must have been.
Monumental is the only word. It's one of the biggest stories in evolution.
And we have fossil clues for that, too. You mentioned Eusynopteron.
Yeah, a fossil fish from about 450 million years ago. And you can see features in his fins that look like precursors to limbs. Stronger bones, more structure.
And evidence of primitive lungs for breathing air.
Exactly. The beginnings of the toolkit needed for land. This leads us towards the amphibians.
Frogs, newts, salamanders.
Right. They're the pioneers, living partly on land, but still tied to water, especially for reproduction. Their skin isn't waterproof. Their eggs need moisture.
Still got one foot in the water, so to speak.
Literally, sometimes.
So who made the full leap? Who cut the cord?
The reptiles. Their big innovation was watertight skin scales and shelled eggs.
Ah, the amniotic egg. Means they could lay their eggs on dry land.
Total game changer. Now they're truly free from the water. The first fully terrestrial vertebrates.
And this sets the stage for, well, the big ones.
The dinosaurs.
The age of reptiles, yeah. They dominated for an incredibly long time.
Until they didn't. That extinction event, probably climate change, an asteroid maybe?
Whatever the cause, it wiped out most of them. But extinctions, they often create opportunities.
And mammals were waiting in the wings.
Exactly. Mammals had been around, small, often nocturnal, but the dinosaurs' disappearance opened the door for them to diversify and take over.
Before we get to mammals fully, you mentioned snakes. That's a weird evolutionary path, isn't it? The evidence points to them evolving from lizards that adapted to burrowing.
So they lost their legs to move underground more easily.
Seems like it. And then some lineages eventually came back to the surface but kept the legless form. Evolution isn't always a straight line forward.
Clearly not. Okay, on to birds. Feathers are obviously key.
Absolutely. And not just for flight. Insulation was probably the first major advantage. Keeping warm.
Like a down jacket.
Pretty much. And we have fossils like Archaeopteryx.
The famous one. Looks like a dinosaur with feathers.
It's a perfect transitional fossil. Shows that bird-dinosaur link so clearly.
And the diversity in birds today is just stunning. Especially their beaks.
Oh, fantastic examples of adaptation. Think of a pelican's pouch for scooping fish.
Compared to a hummingbird's long, thin beak for nectar.
Worlds apart, but perfectly suited to their diet. And flight itself. The way different birds have mastered the air.
Terms are so graceful. Albatrosses just glide forever.
And then you have swifts hitting speeds of, 170 kilometers an hour? Incredible aerial acrobats.
And they're noisy, too. All those songs and displays.
Crucial for communication. Finding mates, defending territory, coordinating socially. It's a complex world.
Right. So mammals, they finally get their chance after the dinosaurs check out. Where do we start? The weird ones.
You mean the monotremes?
Yeah.
Platypus and echidna? Yeah, they're fascinating because they still lay eggs, like reptiles. An early branching off point.
But they have fur. They produce milk. Definitely mammals.
Oh, yes. And a key mammalian trait, warm-bloodedness, endothermy, and fur for insulation.
That lets them be active at night, right? When cold-blooded reptiles are sluggish.
Huge advantage. Opened up the 90s.
Then we get the marsupials. Pouches. Yeah. Mostly Australia, right?
Mostly, yeah. Their story's really tied to continental drift. Australia got isolated, and the marsupials there diversified like crazy without competition from placental mammals initially.
Kangaroos, koalas, wombats, Tasmanian devil. Such unique creatures.
Absolute iconic fauna. And there were even bigger ones in the past.
Giant kangaroos. Marsupial lions.
Yeah, megafauna. 3-meter-tall kangaroos, predators like the marsupial lion. Pretty amazing creatures.
What happened to them? Climate change again? Human arrival?
Likely a combination. But climate shifts certainly played a major role. Another reminder of how environments shape life's path.
And this ties into the whole study of evolution, doesn't it? Looking at works like Life on Earth, or even getting summaries through resources like Mindful Moments and our podcasts. It's all about seeing these connections, these incredible adaptations, sometimes surprising ones.
Exactly. It deepens your appreciation for the sheer ingenuity of life. And that brings us to the placental mammals, the ones we're most familiar with.
Their advantage is developing the young inside the mother's body for longer.
Right. Internal nourishment via the placenta. It proved to be a very successful strategy.
And they diversified everywhere. Insect eaters like our aardvarks.
Bats. Nearly 1,000 species using echolocation to navigate and hunt in the dark. Just amazing sensory adaptation.
And some even went back to the water. Whales, dolphins.
Yep. Return to the sea. And the buoyancy of water allowed some, like the great whales, to evolve enormous sizes, far bigger than any land animal could manage.
It's like a constant back and forth of adaptation, which leads nicely into that evolutionary arms race idea.
Ah, yes, the dynamic between herbivores and predators. It's a powerful engine for evolution.
Especially when environments change, like grasslands expanding.
Right. Climate change leads to more grass. Herbivores adapt to eat tough grasses, think complex stomachs. Carnivores adapt to hunt in the open.
So the herbivores develop defenses?
Yeah.
Burrowing.
Like prairie dogs or blind mole rats, totally adapted to underground life.
Speed. Zebras. Impalas.
Classic escape artists. Armor.
Rhinos. Or just sheer size, like elephants. Hard to tackle.
Exactly. All different strategies to avoid being eaten, but the predators keep pace.
Cheetahs develop incredible speed.
Lions use teamwork and stealth.
Hyenas use endurance, persistence hunting.
It's this constant pressure back and forth, refining skills on both sides.
Fascinating. Okay, let's move towards us, primates. What makes a primate a primate?
Key things are often adaptations for living in trees, ancestrally at least. Forward-facing eyes.
For depth perception, judging branches.
Precisely. And grasping hands, with opposable thumbs or big toes in many cases, great for holding on.
Starts with lemurs in Madagascar, those isolated islands again.
Yeah, amazing diversity there. Some are incredible jumpers, like the safaka. Others known for their calls, like the indra.
Then monkeys.
Yeah.
Tiny marmosets, howler monkeys with those prehensile tails.
Using their tails like a fifth limb. And eventually this lineage leads to the apes. Gibbons, orangutans, gorillas, chimps.
And us. Attenborough's encounter with the mountain gorillas is always so powerful.
It really highlights that connection, that shared ancestry. You see the intelligence, the social complexity.
So finally, the human chapter. Relatively short in the grand scheme.
Very short. Our story really kicks off when our ape ancestors started spending less time in the trees and more time out on the expanding grasslands of Africa.
Why leave the trees? Climate change again? Forests shrinking?
That's the prevailing idea. And moving on to the savanna presented new challenges, new opportunities. Standing upright became advantageous.
To see over the tall grass. Spot predators.
Yes. And importantly, it freed the hands.
For carrying things. Making tools.
Exactly. Tool use becomes increasingly important, and hunting larger game likely required cooperation.
Which requires communication. Language.
Yeah. It all starts to snowball. Homo erectus starts spreading out of Africa. Much later, Homo sapiens emerges with brains capable of, well, everything we see around us. Art, complex culture, abstract thought.
A remarkable journey, but as the book points out.
Yeah, as incredible as our rise has been, there's no guarantee of continued success. We're still subject to the same evolutionary pressures.
Adaptation is still key.
Yeah.
Our long-term survival isn't a given.
Not at all. We're just one species, albeit a very influential one, in this immense ongoing story.
So wrapping it all up, we've journeyed billions of years, single cells to us. It's just, wow, driven by adaptation, diversification, everything connected.
Really is a profound narrative.
What stands out for you as maybe one key takeaway or a surprising thing? For me, it's how those big environmental shifts, those crises almost, were often triggers for massive innovation.
That's a great point. Extinctions clearing the way for new forms.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me it's just the sheer, almost unbelievable creativity of natural selection in finding solutions. Feathers, echolocation, photosynthesis, mind-blowing ingenuity.
Absolutely. Well, if you found this journey as fascinating as we did, definitely hit subscribe for more analyses like this.
And share it with anyone curious about the natural world, about where we all came from.
We'll put links in the show notes, too, to resources, the Life on Earth book, if you want to explore even further.
But most importantly, keep looking at the world around you with that sense of wonder.
Yeah, keep thinking critically about life, the universe, and everything that shaped it.